5.3 Radiation Measurement. The learning goal is to describe the detection and measurement of radiation. You guys have probably heard of a Geiger counter, and you've watched some show that, as they get closer and closer to the source of the radiation, the gamma radiation, it starts going beep, 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 really loudly, or at least that's how they show it on TV. It uses ions produced by radiation to create an electrical current. Now then, units for measuring radiation activity include the following. A Curie, as in Madame Curie, a becquerel, a rad, a radiation absorbed dose, or a REM, radiation equivalent in humans, which measures the biological effects of different kinds of radiation. The rad measures the amount of radiation absorbed by a gram of body tissue, so per gram. So the REM measures the alpha particles, which don't penetrate the skin, but you know what, if you breathe them in, it's going to cause extensive damage. It also measures high energy radiation, which causes more damage than alpha particles, and this high energy includes beta particles, high energy protons, and neutrons that travel into tissue. It also measures gamma rays, which are damaging because they travel a long way through the body tissue. Now, people who work in radiation laboratories wear dosimeters attached to their clothing. You might have seen this depending on your experience with nuke med. Dosimeters detect the amount of radiation exposure from the following, whether it's X-rays, gamma rays, beta particles. Often the measurement for an equivalent dose will be in millirims. So think of the word milli. So a rem is 1,000 of those millirims. The SI unit is the sievert. A sievert is 100 rems. The average person in the United States is exposed to 3.6 millisieverts of radiation annually. Exposure to radiation occurs every day, from naturally occurring isotopes in buildings where we live and work, food and water, the air we breathe. Heck, depending on your granite you're going to be actually exposed to a little bit, so don't freak out. Sources of naturally occurring isotopes include the following: potassium-40 and potassium-containing foods, and cosmic radiation from the sun. Now, medical sources of radiation also include X-rays and mammograms. And so, in Table 5.5, you can see the average annual radiation received by a person in the United States. And so you'll notice the natural, the medical, depending on your X-rays, and other. Now, radiation sickness. Exposure to radiation of less than 0.25 sievert usually cannot be detected. But if your whole body exposure of 1 sievert produces a temporary decrease in the number of white cells, if you have the whole body exposure of 1. If it's greater than 1, it may induce radiation sickness, causing nausea, vomiting, fatigue, and reduced white cell counts. Exposure to radiation of 5 sieverts is expected to cause death in 50% of the people receiving that dose. Now, that dose, if 50% of the people are expected to die because of that dose, that is called the LD50, as in lethal dose. The amount of radiation to the whole body that would be your 5 sieverts. That's your LD50. And of course, depending on what you are, if you're an insect, a rat, a human, or dog, you're going to have different LD50 for different life forms. Now, foodborne illnesses caused by pathogenic bacteria such as Salmonella, Listeria, Escherichia coli have become major health concerns in the United States. The U.S. FDA has approved the use of 0.3 to 1 kGy of radiation produced by cobalt-60 or cesium-137 for the treatment of foods. Cobalt pellets are placed in stainless steel tubes arranged in racks. When the food passes through a series of racks, gamma rays pass through the food and kill the bacteria. Currently, tomatoes, blueberries, strawberries, and mushrooms are being irradiated to allow them to be harvested when completely ripe to extend their shelf life. Why? Because then the bacteria is not on it. The FDA requires this particular symbol, to appear on irradiated retail foods. After 2 weeks, the irradiated strawberries on the right show no spoilage. But if it's non-irradiated, mold is growing on them.